YouTubers and fellow hams. Well, a little bit ago I had a suggestion from a viewer. I was asking for ideas in my vlog of things to do, and he said, you ought to go back in your back catalog and maybe update a few videos that are outdated now. Good idea, thank you. And actually I'm going to start doing that. So Andy's Ham Radio Linux. Years ago I did a video on it when it was an ISO image of a Linux distribution that came with a lot of amateur radio software already installed. And that's no longer the case. He uses a different method now, and so that video is out of date. Well, I unlisted it, and I thought, let's go ahead and go through how you install Andy's Ham Radio Linux on your current Linux distribution. Andy's Ham Radio Linux. We're on the page right here, and this is at this address at SourceForge. I will put a link to this in the video description below. We're going to go through the installation. I am presently on a fresh install of Ubuntu 25.04. This is the Mate desktop, which I prefer to use, but the Cinnamon desktop, the GNOME desktop, KDE Plasma, whichever desktop environment you have is fine. You can do this on a fresh Linux install, or if you already have Linux running, Andy's will install the ham radio software to your existing Linux installation. We're going to do it on a fresh install. When we go to this site and we scroll down here, he has some information about the current version, which is 26D, fresh as of April 2025. And he has full instructions for installing it, a list of features, project samples. Here's my video from a few years back when it was an ISO. I just unlisted that video. I'm going to have him update with this one once I've got it complete. What he does now is he downloads a package, not really a package like you're used to with Linux, but a bundle and a script that installs all of the amateur radio software to your existing Linux installation, which I guess makes it a little more flexible because you can have Linux installed and running, and this will just add the ham radio stuff. So up here at the top, here is the installation instructions here, and when we click this, it goes to a download page, and it will download a I think it's a PDF of the instructions, and then we will go and we'll look at that. There it is, getting started. And oh, it's a text file. Okay. So you download this getting started guide, and then this walks you through the installation. Let me just put that full screen so those ads aren't distracting us. It will have info in here on various desktops, some notes about them, what's supported. Different Raspberry Pis are supported, of course. Xubuntu, Kubuntu, which is the KDE desktop, Linux Mint, Raw Debian, LMDE, which is the Linux Mint Debian edition. Anything that's based on Debian or Ubuntu should work. Storage requirements. How much storage you need available to install all this stuff. 8 gigs not enough. 16 gig is adequate. 3264 plenty. He also has information in here on memory requirements. And 4 gig is the minimum where it's considered to be enough. So even the weaker systems this should work fine on. Here's the installation instructions, which we will come back to. There's just a few steps that we're going to have to do after we download the package. The installation script, which will be here in /Unix System Resources USR local bin install AHRL, is the installation script. And in that script, there will be a bunch of options at the top to allow you to choose which programs you want to install. He's got some examples here. This would be useful if you already have some of the programs installed and configured and you don't want to overwrite them. You could modify the script, go in and change these 1s to 0s for the programs you don't want it to install. So we want to think about that before we actually start. If you already have FLDigi installed, you've already got it configured, you might not want to overwrite your existing installation. And so you can go in there and you can set these 1s to 0s on that script so that it does not overwrite your programs. That was the thing I wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead and let's go through this. We need to go and we need to download the actual bundle. So if we come up here and we just click the download button, that should start the download. And it's going to be a fairly large package, I think 500 plus megabytes. Yeah, 554 megabytes. So I'll come back once this is done downloading and we will go through the installation. Okay, the file has downloaded. This is the downloads folder, and we can see it here, Andy_V26D. That's important to remember, the version, and then also that this is lowercase. Linux is of course case sensitive on file names and everything. So v26d.tar.gz. It's a gzip file. And over here we've got the installation instructions. So we're going to walk through this just to take you through it. It's real easy. Shouldn't be a problem. Let's come over here to our downloads. Now in the Mate terminal and in many of the Linux installations, you can right click and say open in terminal, and that will open a terminal in this folder already. If yours can't do that, usually Control-Alt-T will open a terminal, and then you can just type cd space, and it's usually capital D and then lowercase OWN downloads. Over here I have the installation instructions, and we're going to go step by step, but we're going to do one extra thing. We are going to edit that script so I can show you how you can set certain programs not to download, and also there is a setting in there for number of CPUs. If you increase that to match the number of threads that your system can support, it'll go faster. So in Linux, the way you can tell how many CPUs you have is there's a command called lscpu. And if we look right here at the top, this node CPUs 0 to 3. So we have 4. 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that's how we can tell how many CPUs we have. And in the script, you can set that number to speed up the installation. So let's go through the steps here. The first thing that it wants us to do is it wants us to move the file, and that is sudo move and the Andes file /root. And remember, we need to know that version number. It's v26d. So we will type sudo mv Andy _ v26d.tar.gz /root. Now I already entered my password, but it'll ask you for your password when you do the sudo command. It just doesn't ask you for it for the next few minutes, and I was just doing something before I started the camera rolling again. So we've got the file moved. The next step is sudo-i. Now that changes you into the super user, the root user, and it brings over the root's environment as if we logged into the system as root. So we'll do that. See, now it says that we are root. The next command over here, I'm following along over here. We're here under the install the files. We did the sudo-i. The next one is cd Unix system resources local. And what you can do is you can copy from the script, come over here and do a Shift-Control-V to just paste the lines in and do them one at a time. So that's changed our directory. You can see our directory here. And then we want to extract the file. And again, we're going to change this VER to our version number. I'm going to copy this command, come over here and do a Shift-Control-V, but I'm not going to hit Enter. I'm going to cursor back here and use the backspace and just put in that V26D to match the version that I have. And this will extract the archive. There it goes. Now the next command in our installation over here is to change into the bin directory and then run the script. We're going to change into that bin directory, which is binary files, but then we're going to edit the script so we can make some changes. So we'll just go ahead and paste that in, and then instead of running that install_ahrl, we're going to edit it. So I'm going to use the nano editor. Most systems should have that. You can use any editor you want. And // tells it to open in the current directory, and then I'll type in the name of the script, install _AHRL. And that opens the script up in the editor. Let's scroll down here. And I'm looking for, there it is, number of CPUs. That's what I was looking for, num_CPUs. It's currently set to 1. I'm going to set it to match the number I have, which is 4. And then down here below that, here's all of those flags for installers. You can go through the list, and if you have some programs installed, like say you already installed Chirp and have it configured, you could come in here and change that 1 to a 0 to tell it not to install that. So you'd go down this list if you wanted to make any of those changes. And everything that he's going to install is here in the list. And you can see it's going to install quite a bit of software. Okay, I'm done making my edits. I just wanted to change the CPUs. At the bottom of the screen here in Nano, you can see these are commands, and the little caret means control, holding down control. So I want to hit Control O here to write out the file. I'll type Control O. Asks for the name to write to, and we're going to write to the same file. Enter. And then I'm going to hit Control X to exit. So now I've made my change so it knows the number of CPUs, and I can now run the script to start the installation. And the command is, if we look over here, we want to make sure we get the full command, and there is a few extra parameters there. This is going to output a report of all the installation into this file called out.txt. Let me copy that, come over here, space, Shift Control V, and I'll hit enter. And there we go. It's now getting the package files from the network for the different programs and doing the installations. I'm going to switch back to the document here and see what's next. And it's just questions and answers. So this will finish. Oh, okay, some additional info. Some questions will be asked during the installation. When asked, what is the username of the default user? Enter your username that you log in with. In multiple choice questions, use the tab key to select the desired answer. When you are asked the following question, hit enter. And it's for dump 1099, the program dump 1099. So he gives you some additional things here. So if something pops up in the terminal, look at these additional bits of the instructions here to see how to address that particular case. Now, this is going to take a little while. He says it takes close to an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I will come back when either we get asked a specific question over here or when we finish the installation. Okay, the installation finished, and as expected from the getting started, the only questions I were asked were these few that were mentioned here with regard to dump 1099 and xaster. Other than that, no issues whatsoever. So the installation is finished. We can close that file. During the installation, it compiled several programs from source, downloaded a bunch of them through apt, the package manager. And we should now have, I'll close that, we should now have our installed Linux software for ham radio under the menu. If we bring this up, we have a Andy's Ham Radio Linux submenu automatically created for us with all of the installed software, and look at that, it is quite a bit. I'm not going to go through everything here because the list is very long. His website has the complete list, but we can just look through it at a quick glance here. We've got CQR log, the Arduino IDE if you want to do Arduino development, the whole FL Digi suite's in here, FL Amp, there's FL Message, those are add-ons for the rest of it. FreeDV is a digital voice codec for use on HF. We have several SDR programs. Here's GQRX. Here's GPredict, which is the satellite tracking program. New Radio Companion is the software-definable radio workshop where you can make your own software-defined radios up.
JS8 Call, JTDX. There's KiCad if you want to do PC board design. A lot of little extras in here. Yeah, look at that list. NOAA apt is still being installed, although the 3 NOAA apt satellites, what was it, 18, 19, and 16, or was it 15, I forget, are now completely decommissioned and offline. The old NOAA satellites that we used to be able to receive on VHF are no longer there. So this one's kind of redundant, could probably be removed. There's SDR++, there's SatDump, that was one of them it built from source. That is a great program for decoding other satellites. So yeah, lots and lots of amateur radio software. There's also a ham radio folder here with some of them. And I think, yeah, this happens in the Mate desktop. It won't happen in the other desktops. For some reason, it wants to put the FLDigi, FLRig, FLARQ under Internet. I don't know why it does that, but it does. And there's WFView too as well, the ICOM remote access program for ICOM radios. So it did dump some of them in the wrong place, but this only happens on the Mate desktop, and it could be easily reorganized in the menu. But yeah, one install script, it took about an hour and a half to download everything. But we have pretty much all the amateur radio software that you could want in here. Let's see if he got QLog. I don't see it. Did he get QLog? That's a new one that I recently talked about. There's QSS-TV. And I don't see QLog. Andy, you missed QLog. You might want to add that in the next version. I think he missed it. Yep, nope, he did not get QLog, so there's one that's missing. But we do have most of the available amateur radio related software for Linux already installed and ready to go. Of course, now each of these programs will have to be configured. They're not set up for your particular station, so like if we go into FLRig, it doesn't have any configuration for transceiver, none. You know, you'd have to go through and you'd have to set that up. FLDigi, if we run that, is probably going to ask us to set up our call sign and everything. Yeah, it's going to come up as a new installation, which is how most of the programs are going to do. You'll still have to configure them, but basically just running that one script got us all the amateur radio Linux software, most of it anyway, like I said, QLog, ready to go. So that's Andy's Ham Radio Linux, a single install script that basically installs all the software into your own Linux installation that you've already got going.
Well, there you go. It's not too hard. And as he said in his getting started information there, once in a while, check to see if he's got a new version. And if you want to install a new version, just re-download the new version and rerun the script to update everything. I think many of the programs that are installed from the package manager will update automatically as your software updater in your system operates. So many of the things will be updated. But if you see a new version, maybe check every 6 months or so and see if he's got a new version. I'm sure he'll fix bugs or tweak things, maybe add new software to the installation script. I hope that helped you out, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.